Hello and welcome to the Performance Centre here at Howley Hall Golf Club in Leeds, where today I'm taking a look at the brand new EPIC driver range from Callaway Golf. Hi there, Ryan Rastell here for Golfshake.com, and as I've said, we're going to have a bit of a look at the brand new EPIC driver range from Callaway. But before we do that, please make sure you hit that subscribe button to see loads more content from all of us here at Golfshake to help you play more and play better. So we've got three very distinctly different drivers in this EPIC range for us to have a bit of a look at. So we've got the EPIC MAX, the MAX LS and the EPIC SPEED. So designed for very different types of golfer, and we'll go through the sort of differences in them in a bit, but we'll talk a little bit about the technology that features in all of these drivers as well. So many of you will have seen the Jailbreak technology, which has been present in quite a few of the driver ranges since the original EPIC came out. So we've had EPIC, Rogue, EPIC Flash, Maverick, and now the EPIC Speed and EPIC Max line here. So Jailbreak is basically the bars behind the club face there that stiffen up the club head, stop it deforming when we hit it, and get some of that energy back into the golf ball in the form of ball speed and also a bit of forgiveness across the face. Now, the way that Callaway have changed that is that they have the new Jailbreak AI speed frame technology, which is basically using the artificial intelligence that they've used previously to help them design the faces and the flash face technology that we see to help them with Jailbreak. So now you'll see it's very, very different. We've also got these kind of struts coming off the side of the Jailbreak technology. Instead of them being a bar, it's almost like a flat kind of pillar behind the face there. And then what Callaway is saying is basically instead of it just stopping the vertical compression of the club head, it's actually going to do it horizontally and torsionally as well, so it's going to stop the head from twisting. So that is the main technology that we're seeing in here. So the Jailbreak AI speed frame is something that Callaway saying are framing the future of speed, and that's their tagline for this driver line that's coming out. Now, I've alluded to the flash face as well, so this has changed in this year's drivers. So many of you know Callaway use artificial intelligence to design the faces, and when you have a look at the back of them, you can see the little thickness changes and bumps in the back of the face there. But each individual head, as well as each individual loft in each head, is designed specifically for the type of player that it's aimed at. So if you miss it low out the heel or high out the toe, there'll be faces in these drivers that will help those miss hits as well. So both of those technologies are going to work together, and we can see that throughout the range here. Now, like I've said, there are some subtle changes in the different models, and we'll go through those individually. So first of all, let's talk through the EPIC MAX driver. So this is going to be the most forgiving out of the three that we see, and Callaway is saying it's the most forgiving EPIC driver ever. So they've achieved that by making the footprint slightly larger here. There's more weight towards the back, so we've actually got a 16 gram sliding weight in the back there, so we can use it for draw or fade bias in there. But also the crown is a big part of this. The triaxial carbon crown is used in all three of these. Now, because of the size of the footprint, we're actually able to save in this Max model around 19 grams of weight in the crown, as opposed to making it out of titanium. So 19 grams is quite a lot when we're talking about driver technology, and being able to move that lower and deeper in the head, helping that player who maybe needs that help with a bit more launch, is what you're going to see in this EPIC MAX driver. So as well as the two main technologies that we've spoken about in the Jailbreak AI speed frame and also the AI design flash face, the triaxial carbon crown and this weight position and bigger footprint are what's going to help us get that slight bit more higher launch, more ball speed, a bit more forgiveness on off-centre hits as well, and may suit that player who tends to slice the ball a little bit. So it's going to be the most kind of draw bias model in there as well, in the way that we can adjust it and kind of tailor it to that kind of player. So if you're someone who maybe does explore the club face a little bit, doesn't strike it out the middle too often and needs that bit more help, this could be the model for you. So then we move into the EPIC Speed driver. Now, this is going to be the fastest of all three. So this cyclone aero shape that we saw very similar in the standard Maverick driver from last year carries on. Slightly different shaping and head size though, and bit more carbon in the actual makeup of the driver too, to really help. So we've got this 5 gram weight in the back, and also with the triaxial carbon crown being able to save, in this driver it's 16 grams of weight that if it was made of titanium. So that again allows this head shape to be, you know, slightly lower launching than the Max, but we've still got quite low and deep CG in there. So and the weighting towards the back there. So really helping to try and be faster than any of the other models, slightly more aerodynamic. So the club head speed should be a little bit higher. The footprint is that little bit smaller as well. So if you're a player who just wants to hit bombs, this one could be the one for you. So then we move into Max LS. So LS standing for low spin. So this is a driver that looks quite big when you sit it down. So it's got the kind of Max, EPIC MAX similar footprint. It's ever so slightly different in its shaping, but it's quite similar. The weight track is a little bit smaller, but essentially this time we've got lower spin. So we've achieved that by, like I say, the weight track slightly smaller. There's more weight sort of forward in the head, more towards the face. We've actually got a completely different triaxial carbon crown as well to the other two models. So in this we now save 13 grams, just purely because the head shape just looks that little bit smaller, but it's still quite a big footprint really. It's certainly bigger than the EPIC Speed. So yeah, this is something that looks, it just gives you loads of confidence when you sit it behind it, but it's going to be for that player that needs that little bit lower spin profile in the club head. So Max in the way that it sits behind the ball, low spin in the way that it performs when we hit it. So if you're that maybe higher club head speed, lower handicap player, this very well could be the one for you. Now, the other thing to mention in all three of these drivers is that Callaway send us some slightly shorter shafts as well, and when we do that, that can obviously play havoc with the swing weight of drivers. So we have an array of shafts in here which are 44.75, which is an inch shorter than the 45.75 standard driver shaft. Now, in doing that, Callaway send us a bit of a weight kit for these. So if we're shortening the shaft, we've got slightly heavier weights to go in there and balance that up again. So Callaway are really trying to help that player, or help the fitters as well, dial that player in and make sure you leave with not only the model of driver that you should be looking at for your game, but also making sure it swing weights properly as well. So that's a really, really great feature. So now that we know about the technology of these, let's go give them a hit on the Trackman and see exactly how they perform. So now that we've hit all three models of this new EPIC driver, I've also hit some with my current driver, which is the Maverick Sub-Zero from last year, just to give you a bit of a comparison of what I'm seeing on here. Now, those of you that have seen videos I've done in the past where I've hit drivers, I've talked about the driver I have at the moment, the Maverick Sub-Zero. I love it. It's honestly my favourite driver I've ever had. I've hit it straighter and longer than anything I've ever had in my life. And I really think it's going to take some for this to come out of the bag. I mean, for me, I've always struggled with spin and trying to keep spin down, and certainly that generally has done that for me when I've been playing. But it's interesting to see this on the Trackman. So if we look at the models individually, so let's look at my Maverick to start with. So we're seeing nearly 117 miles an hour club speed, 172 ball speed, and that's resulting in just short of 290 carry, 307 total distance, which I am happy with all day long. But when we look at it compared to the others, so we'll start with the most forgiving driver, the one that should suit me the least, okay? Because it's the highest spinning, highest launching. We can see I'm getting a bit more club head speed. It's about a mile an hour more, slightly more ball speed, not much more, but you can see the spin is significantly higher, which we'd expect from that model, really. That's what it's trying to do. It's helping that person who can't get the ball in the air, or certainly struggles a little bit getting the ball in the air. But we can see the distances are still good. 284 yards carry, 296 total. So it's 10 yards shorter than my Maverick Sub-Zero, but we were never expecting it to be even, you know, close. I certainly wasn't anyway. When we move on to EPIC Speed, so this is a driver, it does look smaller when you sit it behind the ball, and Callaway is saying that it's the quickest. Now it's probably it is the slowest that I've actually swung, which it must just be me. That obviously the head is more aerodynamic and should move faster, but that's not what I found in the test. And certainly when I've hit it on here, again, 286, 304, so the spin's just that little bit lower than max, which is why we're getting a bit more run and a bit more total distance there as well. And then when we look at the EPIC MAX LS, which is the one I thought would suit me the best, it does as we look at it on there. So we're seeing, again, got about a mile an hour more club head speed, 175 now the ball speed, so we've just crept that up a little bit. 2.8 spin, so it's quite similar to my Maverick, but crucially we're getting, I mean, 297, nearly 298 carry is ridiculous. I mean, that is the longest average carry I've had. I still think I could do something to get that spin down, so maybe I need to have a play around with a few more shafts, but I literally used the shaft that I've had in my Maverick Sub-Zero, so I took that out and used it with all three of these EPIC models. And you're seeing 313 total, so a little bit of an increase. We're not talking tons here, we're never going to gain 20 yards, but we can see the smash factors just increase slightly, so we're getting that little bit more efficient in terms of the way that the ball flight is going down here. But the biggest thing, if we have a look at dispersion as well, the thing I found with EPIC MAX LS is that it just went so straight. Certainly, I mean, I've only hit kind of 3 decent shots with each one on here just to compare it, but when we're looking, when I was looking at it, I've hit sort of 20, 30 with each one previously. It just seemed to go straight all the time, and that's really the biggest thing I can say about this, is that the way that Callaway are talking about the technology in the head now, with both the flash face but also with the new AI Jailbreak, is that we're seeing that sort of speed frame working really nicely for us. So it's stopping the head from twisting. We're getting that ball speed that we're looking for, and on off-center hits as well. And that's certainly what I was seeing when I was using it in here. Now, it's all well and good testing it in here, but really the important thing is getting it out there on the golf course, isn't it? So we're going to do that now. We're going to go play a few holes. I'm going to hit some with each driver, show you some of the traces as well, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about it at the end and see exactly what I thought when we're out there. So let's go hit some. So, as you can see, not ideal conditions to test these drivers in, but I'm doing this for you, all right? I'm out here, it's -3 degrees. I'm just walking out onto the golf course, hopefully to somewhere that's not covered in snow, so that we can actually have a bit of a look at how these drivers perform and have a look at the ball flights of them. But I'm not expecting any massive distance out here, purely because it's blooming freezing. But yeah, we'll see how they go, and I'll kind of describe to you the differences that I see when I'm seeing the ball flight, but also have a look at the traces on there, because I'm sure they'll show up the differences in the kind of heights of the ball flights and the differences there between the models of driver. So yeah, hopefully we'll find somewhere that's not covered in snow. So I've managed to find a spot on the 10th tee here that's not absolutely covered in snow. So I'm going to hit some shots with all 3 models of the new EPIC driver. So we've got the Max, the Speed and the Max LS to try. So I'm going to hit 2 or 3 shots with each one once I regain the feeling in my fingers. And then hopefully we'll have a look and see which one see which one I like the best, but also see the differences between the ball flights on them all as well. So yeah, here goes. So having hit 2 with each off that 10th tee, the first one I hit was the low spin, hit 1 just down the left hand side, which we'll get to in a second, and 1 just up the right. Then I hit the max, then I hit the speed. So the ones with the max, I would say the height of the flight was crazy, really, very, very high. All these drivers are set at the same loft, so they're all set at 9 degrees, but the max was, yeah, colossal in terms of its height in the air, which I'm sure you'll see from when we look at the traces and put those on there. But I also hit both of them down the left hand side, so if we look at them here, we can see this bunker down the left is about 250 to carry. I've just managed to get over it even in these -3 conditions, and then the second one I've just hit a little bit further. It's just up the left hand side here in the rough, both of them high with a bit of a right to left flight on them, so as you'd expect really from that model. Now when we then move to where I've hit both the Speed and the Max LS, which to be honest the ball flights look fairly similar on both of them, I pulled one with each and hit a fairly straight to kind of pushy one really with them both, and there's not really much difference in the distance, so but they've both gone a really decent distance. That bunker down the right there off that back tee is about 265 to carry it, which on a day like this should really be touch and go whether you can get there. But you can see with all of them, so the pulls have definitely easily done it, but the 2 that I've hit straight over the top of it, which is kind of your line off that tee, have made it over quite comfortably as well. So distance is very, very good, and it certainly backs up what I'm seeing inside. Now I wasn't expecting to see the same sort of distance as we were getting in there, but you know, obviously the conditions are stopping that happening, but really the ball flights are great, particularly the LS one. When I hit that, there's just no shape on it, just seemed to come out dead straight. So the first one I hit was a bit of a pull, but it was a straight one, and then I've obviously tried to push it a bit further down the right hand side to kind of correct it a little bit for myself, and the second one I've just hit dead straight over this right hand bunker, which is, like I say, the kind of line you want off the tee. You can hear the snow crunching under my feet as I walk as well, which is you know, further outlines. It's not ideal conditions to be out and playing golf in, but you know, it really does back up what I was seeing in the room with not only the ball flight but also the kind of distance that we're getting with it as well. So both the Speed and LS seem to work better for me. I kind of prefer the sound of the Speed, if I'm honest. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera when I'm hitting it, but it sounds much kind of duller and like I was used to with my Maverick driver. LS is a little bit higher pitched and a bit tingier, but the ball flight I prefer with the LS. It was just that little bit more penetrating. I thought they're quite similar between that and Speed, but yeah, you can see by where I've hit them that those 2 are going to suit me better. But the Max, you know, it looks so forgiving when you sit it behind the ball, and although I've hit these 2 shots just a little bit high and left, that's kind of what you expect. So there we have it. We've put all 3 of these drivers to the test, both on the Performance Centre Trackman and also out here on the golf course, albeit not in the best conditions, but I could certainly see the differences between the 3 models, and as always, love testing new equipment, and I thought that the LS or the Speed model were going to be the ones that suited me, and it turns out they did perform slightly better. So you know, having that advantage of being able to fit them for myself as well, with a variety of different shafts and weights and things like that that go in the heads, has been obviously an advantage. So I obviously always recommend that you go and get fitted properly for every product that you buy, really. But the new EPIC range are very, very good, and certainly over the Maverick I think they've just got a bit of forgiveness in terms of the distance. I don't really think you're going to see a huge difference, but when you don't hit the middle of the face, you are going to see a bit more forgiveness and probably more ball speed on off-centre hits, which is really what the Jailbreak Speed frame is aiming to do. And certainly I found that when I don't hit the middle of the face, the ball flights come out a little bit straighter, and the distances are a bit more comparable to where I'd hit a normal good shot to as well. So hope you've enjoyed the video. We're also testing the new EPIC fairway woods, all the Apex range of irons and hybrids as well, so have a bit of a search for those on the channel too, and we'll see you all very, very soon.